So in this step 4-2, we're going to create our first custom Angular pipe, which will be used to convert a balance. A balance in the sense that we have an amount in Bitcoin or an amount in euros, dollars, whatever the currency, and we want to convert it, meaning we want to display for the same value, which is always what's interesting, one piece of data in euros or dollars and the equivalent value in Bitcoin or any other currency. We can take a look, especially here in the documentation, at how to create a pipe. It's pretty easy. And in the end, we'll always have more or less the same format. It's ng generate. So G for generate, which is an alias, and P for pipe. And then after that, you specify the path where you want to put it. Share, because pipes tend to be shared across all features. It could happen that some pipes are very specific to certain features. That's not necessarily impossible. But there you go. It's something you need to think about. Here, it'll be more than enough to put it like this. The goal is going to be to create this custom pipe to handle the conversion. We can take a look at the kind of output we want to have. For example, we want to have an amount here in $86,000 and it's equivalent in Bitcoin. With a conversion rate between the two, you get to choose it. For my example, I used 80,000, meaning $80,000 equals 1 Bitcoin. There you go. Well, after that, for now, it's static. We'll see later that we can make it dynamic. You can do it both ways. Either you have a value in Bitcoin by default. So that's what I chose. I'm going to say that I have 1.2 of a number, so of an amount. And then I'll use my pipe, which will take this 1.2 and convert it using a ratio into a new amount, which will be the amount in dollars. I will now show you in a bit more detail how these pipes are meticulously generated, specifically focusing on explaining their intricate format and providing comprehensive instructions on how to effectively read and interpret them. I generate a pipe, and Angular, using this command line, generates a class like this for me. You'll notice, and you'll start to get used to this, that there's a decorator called that pipe, which specifies that this TypeScript class is a pipe and that it implements an interface. We'll see a bit more about that later. There's actually a lot to say about this. What's important is that we have a function called transform. Let me remind you, the purpose of a pipe is to transform raw data into something visible, to change its format, to modify how it's displayed. At first, this is what gets generated. For now, we're not really looking at this part. We're going to delete it. What's important is this. Just to remind you, the pipe is represented by a vertical bar, a pipe, with a variable on the left that comes out on the right as a modified variable. And that's what the value here is. The parameter of this function is the value on the left side of the pipe. So here we can already specify its type. In Angular, we really like to type everything as much as possible. Why is it a number? Because I'm going to pass in something like 1.2, so it's a number. What do I want to get out of it? Something like this. So it will also be a number. Okay, that's really how you need to read it. When I use my test pipe here in our case, it'll be convertBalance, but you can name it whatever you want. The variable on the left will go into value, into the parameter of the transform function, and will return here a number type. And the number type is here. Specifically here, it's telling me it's not happy because I'm returning null, and null is not of type number. I could do this. Here, ultimately, is where we'll need to put our algorithmic code corresponding to this pipe. I'll let you handle that. Let's take a look at the sample solution code for this step 4-2. The core of this step is this pipe here, convertBalance pipe, which will be used by applying a convertBalance pipe. That's what's going to be specified in the name. We have a conversion ratio that we specify directly in the pipe. Obviously, that's not something we'll keep in the long run. It doesn't make sense to have a static conversion ratio in a pipe, but we're doing it this way to build up gradually, because step 4-3 will be about parameterizing this pipe. And the result is still Well, the transform function itself isn't very complicated. Since I have my value 1.2 Bitcoins, I just multiply it by how much 1 Bitcoin is worth. I take 1.2 times 80,000, for example. Okay. So as for how to use it, like I said, we have the convertBalance pipe, my amount, which I changed to 1.2, but you can do it the other way around as well. Always, I pass it to convertBalance. I'm not going to talk about the currency pipe, which is native, so you could find it, because without the currency pipe, we have this display here, which might be enough for us depending on our cases, our needs. We could also include currency handling in convertBalance. But here we can add it, and this is where it also gets interesting because we can change the pipes, because you should really see this as if it were in parentheses. First, we take amount and pass it through convertBalance. This gives us on the right a modified formatted value ready for display, which can then be picked up by another pipe and so on. So for this step 4-2, that's okay. And now we're going to move on to adding a parameter to the pipe.